Hello, in this video we're going to discuss how Earth moved during Galactic Movement, Part 2. So, the system travels without its moons or the sun. They're just the planets. When they arrived in the system, then what happens is the moons are brought in. The comets were transported on one of the shepherds. There were 4. Once the system orbit is arranged to how it's pre-planned, then the rings are deployed around Saturn and other planets that have rings. The sun is then brought into this universe, and it is just the shell. And from there, the comets and planetary orbits are established. Once those are established, then the sun ignition is commenced. Then terraforming takes place on all the planets. 4 comets were brought into this system. 3 have been lost. There's only one comet left. It is Halley's Comet. So one comet spun outside the system and just kept going and is still out there now. A second comet was used for the Ice Age for terraforming. The third comet is the Tunguska Comet. And the 4th comet that still exists is the Halley's Comet. For terraforming, robots and machinery are brought in for each planet in order to shape them the way in which God, Mary, Jesus and the Holy Spirit planned. From there, weather is added to each planet that requires it. That involves moisture being placed on the planet, which then evaporates and raises into the air. So we have system orbit and planet rotation to distribute the heat from the sun, and the weather has been added with moisture evaporating on the surface and rising up into the sky and forming as clouds. Air is also placed inside the atmosphere of Earth prior to the weather being added. For the magma layer, the magma layer is already formed. Wormholes, once the sun's ignition is started, tiny wormholes are placed in the atmosphere, upper atmosphere of the sun, which with their exit points in the magma layer. You can tell where these wormhole exit points are by looking at the Pacific Ring of Fire and other places like that. Places that are high in magma movement, that is where you'd expect to find one of the wormhole exit points that brings in heat from the sun. Terraforming is done at a very precise level, and this is early terraforming for the planet. Later on, more is added after the Ice Age and after Noah's flood. For the Ice Age, a pre-planned comet impact on Earth is arranged, and this comet impacts the Earth and produces an Ice Age. There were no dinosaurs prior to that. Dinosaurs weren't brought in until after the Ice Age. So debris from the comet raises up into the upper atmosphere in dust form and causes the planet to cool down, and then we have an Ice Age. This is part of the terraforming process. It allows glaciers to form, and these ice flows help shape the Earth at specific locations. After the Ice Age is complete, and God plans on thawing the planet and bringing it out of Ice Age, then what happens is robots are sent to Earth, and they lay a giant electric blanket across where the oceans are and waterways and lakes. This heats those areas up and starts to melt the ice. The covers for them still exist on Earth today. The Marianas Trench is one location where they're kept. There'll be a lot of material over them because they've been there for a long time. Their power source is in fact from a reactor on a place called Planet 1 in heaven. As well as the placing of the electric blanket, robots are sent up into the upper atmosphere and clear it of debris. And tiny wormholes are placed in the upper atmosphere of the Sun, and in the exit points are in the upper atmosphere of Earth at specific key locations. These flicker on and off for 5 seconds only, once a day, at midday. And this helps rebalance the seasons. And that is how we thaw the planet after an ice age. Once that is complete, then plants, fish, and the dinosaurs were brought in and unloaded by spaceships with the help of the Holy Spirit and released into the wild. I am the Archangel Daniel, and I'm from heaven.